So I was looking at the UFC rankings today, trying to get some ideas on what to do some YouTube videos about. And when I was looking at the featherweight rankings, I kind of realized that there's barely anybody matched up in the division. Almost the entire division is unbooked and doesn't have anybody to fight. So featherweight looked more like featherweight. If you see what, okay, that was corny. But listen, I'm going to be matchmaking all the featherweight. So that's what this video is going to be about today. Tony Has Died, will be matchmaking the entire featherweight division. Let's get straight into this, starting with the first matchup on the card. Who should Volkanovski fight? Volk is the champion. Just beat Diego Lopez in his last fight. And he only has one loss in all of featherweight history, which was to Ilia Topuria. Now, nobody really counts the second Islam Makhachev fight, but Volk has only lost to the pound for pound number 1 and the pound for pound number 2. So he is definitely the best featherweight in the world right now. Who do I think he should take on? I think that there is no question. I think he has to fight Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy, he is undefeated in the UFC. He just knocked out Aaron Pico with the spinning elbow, one of the best knockouts of the year. Beat the fuck out of Josh Emmitt, who is top 10. So he has the win over Pico, who was on a good run before he came into the UFC, and he brutally finished him. And he defeated Josh Emmitt as well, beat the fuck out of Josh Emmitt, beat Dan Ige, who's also ranked, has the win over Barboza. And he beat Gabriel Santos, and I think that is a win that is going to age super well for Lerone Murphy as well. So you look at all the other people in the division. You got Lopez, who just lost to Volk. You got Movsar, who, honestly, you could give the title shot to Movsar, but he's kind of just been inactive for so long. And, Movsar did beat Lopez, and Movsar did beat Aljo. But he had his opportunity to fight Pico. He pulled out. He has to fight again, man. Movsar, and he knows he has to fight again as well, because he just put out a tweet calling out Diego Lopez for the rematch. And so, yeah, man, I think that Lerone Murphy, who's coming off of a super entertaining KO in his last fight, I think you definitely need to give him the title shot. So Volk versus Murphy, run it. The next person is who fought in the main event last week, Diego Lopez. Who do I think he should take on? He only has one loss. Well, he has 2 losses in the UFC. One to Alexander Volkanovski, and the other loss was a highly competitive fight in his debut against Movsar Evloev. Now, I think that this is the perfect time for both of these guys to run it back. Lopez is coming off of a super entertaining KO over Gene Silva. Movsar, he's coming off, he has the accolades, bro. But at the end of the day, this company is a fucking company based on entertainment. And he has been pretty dull in his last fights. Not that he is dull, because I do think the Sterling fight was slightly entertaining, and the Allen fight was entertaining when he was losing the fight. And I do think that Arnold Allen should have beaten Movsar as well. So saying he's undefeated even though Arnold Allen should have beat him, kind of weird. But he did beat Lopez. He beat Sterling. He beat Dan Ige. Movsar is definitely right on the cusp of the title shot, but so is Lopez. So I think that you should match these 2 guys up against each other. There's some beef there because this was, Lopez lost to him in his debut. How good would Lopez do on a full camp? We've seen Movsar struggle against great strikers like Arnold Allen in the past, so it would be a highly compelling matchup either way. So I think you should do Diego Lopez versus Movsar Evloev. The next fight we need to talk about, and let me say this, I have no idea how Yair Rodriguez is ranked number 3 right now. He literally just lost to Ortega 2 fights ago, and he's ranked number 3 in the division. What are we doing? But who do I think that Yair should fight? I think he should fight the Funk Master, Aljamain Sterling, who, lost to Sean O'Malley by KO, and we've seen Aljo kind of struggle with these super slick strikers in the past, the Marias fight and the Sean O'Malley fight. It would be interesting to see this fight because Yair has the tools to knock out Sterling, who has been knocked out before in the past by slick strikers. But Sterling also has the tools to out-grapple Yair, who has lost to every single grappler that he's ever fought. In Brian Ortega, in Volkanovski, Max Holloway grappled him in that fight as well. I think that this is the matchup that needs to be made because both of these guys are both calling for the title shot and they don't deserve it. Ortega beat him one fight ago. Sterling beat Ortega, but Ortega was like a fucking compromised version of himself. And so both of these guys need, I think, one more win to get into the title contention. So for that reason, I'm going to say that they should fight each other. Striker versus grappler matchup. But Aljo is a little bit older, and I think it would be a super interesting fight either way. So Yair, and I saw people saying Yair. I remember the rumors where they were saying Yair versus Volkanovski was official for Noche. I'm so glad that shit wasn't true, bro, because that would have been complete bullshit, right? But Cologne, he needs to fight another fighter. So Yair versus Aljo, I think that's the fight to make. The next fight to make is with Arnold Allen. And Arnold Allen's in a very tricky position because he's been super inactive. He hasn't fought since early 2024, and it was against Giga, and that's not that good of a win. He's had 2 shots up the rankings against Holloway and against Mobzar. I will say I do think he won the Mobzar fight because that knee that he landed that they called illegal, it was the hardest shot landed of the whole fight. It wasn't an illegal knee, but it got called illegal. So if you give him that knee, he definitely wins that fight. So I do think that Arnold Allen was kind of robbed, but he does need to fight down in the rankings because you look at who he's beaten. It's like Dan Hooker, who was on a terrible losing streak, cut down. Calvin Kattar, that has not aged well. Giga, that hasn't aged well. And then it's like Sadiq Youssef, you know? So I think Arnold Allen needs to fight down. Who is someone that's coming up the rankings, climbing up the rankings? I think he should fight Steve Garcia. Now tell me this is a badass fight, kid. Listen, Steve Garcia is coming on I'm pretty sure he's on a 6-fight win streak. 5 of them have come by knockout. He knocks out some pretty good people in that run as well. He knocked out Malik Costa. He knocked out Chase Hooper, who is now a lightweight, and he just beat the fuck out of Calvin Kattar, dropped Calvin Kattar in that fight as well. Absolutely decimated Calvin Kattar. We're going to talk about Kattar in a little bit, right? But I think that, Steve Garcia, I think he's ranked at like number 12 or 13 right now, and he definitely deserves to keep fighting up. Arnold Allen, he needs to fight down. So I think Arnold Allen versus Steve Garcia is the fight to make, and I think it would be super entertaining as well. Allen comes to strike in every fight. Garcia walks forward. He's always looking for the finish every time. So I think Arnold Allen versus Steve Garcia is the fight that needs to be made. The next fight that we need to talk about, this is going to be a hot take, bro. This is going to be a hot take, but Ortega needs to move up a weight class, bro. And that's not the hot take. I think almost everyone can agree that he missed weight in the Diego Lopez fight the first time when Lopez had to fight Ige on short notice. And then he just missed weight against Sterling. He's been telling the UFC he can't make 145 anymore. So why hasn't he moved up? Huh? I think he needs to fight at 155, and he needs to fight down at 155. Now, I'm not saying just give him a complete unranked opponent, but we should give him somebody who hasn't secured a W in quite some time. And I think that Michael Chandler is the perfect name for both guys. Now, hear me out with this. Chandler, he will not fight anyone who does not have name value. But the lower you get into the rankings, there is nobody to fight that doesn't have name value. I think that this fight makes sense for both guys. They're both coming off a bunch of losses. I think Ortega, he lost to Sterling. He lost to Lopez. He beat Yair, which is crazy because Yair's ranked number 3. But he beat Yair, lost to Volk, lost to Holloway. He beat Korean Zombie, fair enough. But he's been super inactive as well. Like, he has so many pullouts and injuries. Chandler, he's old. He's washed. I think that they should fight each other. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think Ortega needs to move up a weight class because he can't make 145 anymore. So, yeah, I think you do Ortega versus Chandler. The next fight we need to talk about, this is a fight that is already booked. Yusuf Zalal versus Josh Emmett. I actually met Yusuf Zalal. He was actually, like, I'm not even kidding. I think Yusuf Zalal, I'm probably the only Yusuf Zalal fan in the entire world. This dude was so cool when I met him, bro. And I told him, I was like, dude, I put money against you in the Kattar fight. And he was like chill about it when I met him. I was like, bro, I got to be honest. I mean, I was slandering your name. I picked Zalal to win, but I thought there was good money on Kattar, so I put money on Kattar. I don't sports bet anymore, by the way. But I put money on Kattar to beat Zalal because I thought it was a good, like a good underdog, like bet basically. And I told him that. He was super chill about it. Like, there's a video. Maybe I'll post it one day. But it's a funny video. But I digress. These two guys are fighting each other. I think Zalal should probably just out-technique Emmitt. Zalal's undefeated, I'm pretty sure. Emmitt, he got out-techniqued by Murphy in his last fight. I think Zalal has a very similar style. Not similar style, but I feel like he can emulate a lot of the stuff that Murphy did in that fight. So these guys are already fighting each other. This is like the only fight that's booked, by the way, in the entire featherweight division. And so, yeah, let's talk about the next fight. The guy coming off the loss, the fighting nerds are done, man. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? I cannot believe that he lost, bro. Gene Silva, my favorite goy, Gene Silva, coming off a loss to Diego Lopez, where he looked terrible, but at the same time he didn't. If that makes any sense, like, when this fight was on the feet, I know he got knocked out on the feet, but when this fight was on the feet, it was like night and day, bro. He hit a fucking up kick on Lopez. He was tagging him. I just underestimated Lopez's chin because I figured that I was like, dude, Gene Silva will definitely find Lopez's chin at some point in the fight, but he was able to eat the shots, and so he lost the fight. Who do I think he should fight next? Patricio Pitbull, man. I think he should fight Pitbull. Pitbull is coming off a win over Dan Ige. I actually watched that fight live at 318. It was a pretty mid fight, let's be honest. And then in his debut, he lost to Yair. And that's how Yair's ranked number 3, by the way. It's because he beat Patricio Pitbull, who's ranked number 14. So yeah, he beat Pitbull, but now he get to be ranked number 3. Tell me how that makes any sense, bro. But yeah, I think you should award. Pitbull was already gonna fight Lucien Keita, and Keita, like, how do I explain? Keita missed weight. Pitbull, I feel like you kind of got to give Pitbull a matchup in there. Like, he was gonna fight someone that was unranked. I think he should just fight someone that's similar to him in the rankings now. I think Gene Silva makes a lot of sense because Gene Silva is super entertaining. He's coming off a loss, so he needs to fight down or fight similar to where he was fighting before. Because he beat Bryce Mitchell. He beat Bryce Mitchell. I think he needs to fight someone that has similar skill set to Bryce Mitchell. And so I think that Gene Silva versus Patricio Pitbull makes a lot of sense. They're close to each other in the rankings. They both need to fight someone that's close to them in the rankings. Run it. And I think it could be, I feel like this is a highlight reel for Silva, bro. I know it's kind of crazy to say that this is a highlight reel for Silva after what happened to Silva in his last fight. Pitbull could definitely mix in the grappling and it could be interesting, but I don't think Pitbull's Pitbull's been knocked out outside of the UFC before. I think he got knocked out in Ryzen, huh? And did he get knocked out against Sergio Pettis too? I'm pretty sure he got knocked out against Chandler as well, huh? He's been knocked out outside the UFC before. Silva's young. I feel like this is the fight to make. So, yeah, let's talk about the next one. David Onama. I do think he's a bit overrated. I mean, he beat Giga. He beat Giga. And then the other people that he's beaten have been mid as fuck. Like, he beat, I guess he beat Gabriel Santos, and that's a good win. But Jonathan Pierce and Robert Romero are terrible. This dude lost to Nate the Train. Now, he was winning the Nate the Train fight before Nate got the comeback W, right? But Onama, I feel like he's a little bit overrated in terms of rankings, right? And so I think that maybe he should fight Lucien Kita. And there were rumors about Kita. They're like, they cut him from the UFC. That was a lie. It was a lie. It was a lie. Lucien Kita is still signed to the UFC. He's going to get another matchup. If they want to give him another shot into the rankings against someone that's a little bit harder to beat because he missed weight, I feel like this fight makes a lot of sense because Kita missed weight. You don't get the layup in Pitbull anymore. You got to fight someone who's on a tear. And I feel like Onama, he's been a bit dull as of lately. You know, he does have some finishes earlier in his career, like in 2022 to 2023. He's got some wins that were by finish. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him, but his last couple of fights have been quite dull. And so I think someone with Kita who has a lot of hype behind him coming into the UFC, who is already going to get a ranked opponent in his debut, I think that this fight makes a lot of sense. Now let's talk about the next matchup. We got, hey, Dan Ige, you motherfucker! Dan Ige! Listen, here's who we got. Dan Ige, who is coming off a loss to Pitbull, but he beat Sean Woodson. He beat Andre Phil. Look, we just got to see if Dan Ige still got it. We got to see if Unk still got it. And the best way to test that is against a guy, I'm pretty sure he's on a 7 or 8 fight win streak. Chepe Mariscal. This guy's a marauder. Listen, Chepe Mariscal is coming off of a win over Ricardo Ramos. Beat Damon Jackson. I guess that didn't age too well. But his win over Morgan Charrier did age well. Morgan Charrier, he's pretty dull, but I feel like beating him is impressive. Beat Jack Jenkins. That's a win that's aged super well. And I feel like he deserves a ranked opponent. Chepe Mariscal, he's on like a 7 or 8 fight win streak. He's, tried to be aggressive and have entertaining fights. He's done everything he needs to do. I feel like you should get him a ranked opponent. Dan Ige, you look at who Dan Ige is losing to. It's the best people, not the best people, but Lerone Murphy, Diego Lopez. This dude lost to Bryce Mitchell. Now that fight could have gone the other way if you score on damage. But, he's losing a lot more than he's winning as of lately. So he needs to fight down, and I think the Chepe Mariscal fight is the fight to make. The next fight on the next matchup I want to make is Giga Chikadze, who I have no idea how, but is still ranked number 15 in the division. Please tell me how that makes any sense. Giga has not won a fight since 2022. And his last win, I guess he beat Caceres, but that was a 29-28 fight, and then he beat Barboza. Like, you look at who Giga has beaten to get ranked, and it's pretty underwhelming, But who do I think Giga should fight next? I think he should fight, pretty sure this is Jose Delgado, who has been on a fucking tear lately, and is coming off of one of the best knockouts of the year over Hyder Emil. Now, you look at who Jose Delgado has beaten so far. It's not anyone too impressive. It's like Connor Matthews, Ernie Juarez. Like, who are you fucking people? But his win over Hyder Emil, and Hyder Emil himself was on a pretty impressive win streak himself. Like, I think Hyder Emil was on a crazy tear, and I picked Hyder Emil to beat Delgado as well. Hyder Emil was on a pretty good win streak of his own when they fought, and Delgado sparked him in the first round. So, all props to Jose Delgado. I think he should get a ranked opponent, and I think this fight could be fun. They're both strikers. They'll both come to bang. And yeah, I think Giga versus Jose Delgado makes a lot of sense. And maybe we could see the Giga kick. All right. The next fight I want to talk about is we got Calvin Kattar. Now, the thing about Calvin Kattar, I want to cut him from the UFC. I don't think he should be in the UFC anymore. He is not good. He has not, changed his style since he first created it. He doesn't know how to adapt. He just lost to Steve Garcia. He lost to Zalal. He lost to Sterling. He lost to Arnold Allen. I know that was like an injury. The Emmitt fight, I honestly thought Kattar won the Emmitt fight. But what the fuck has Emmitt done? Either, And so that's not even like, he lost to Emmitt. He made it close with Emmitt. But at the same time, it's like, retarded. But lost to Max Holloway. He's lost. He has one win. It's the Giga, which is why I don't even think Giga should be ranked at all either. But who do I think Kattar should fight? I think he should fight. Oh, sorry, I messed it up. The Area 51 experiment, Sean Woodson, who is coming off a loss to Dan Ige. But I feel like this is a good bounce back for both guys because Sean Woodson, he proved, he's not top 15 worthy, lost to Ige. Now, it was kind of like a weird stoppage in that fight, but Woodson lost ultimately. And I feel like this is a good bounce back for both guys. Kattar hasn't won in a while. This is a winnable fight for both of them. And yeah, I mean, Sean Woodson hasn't really beat anybody impressive, but he's been able to use his length, his range, and his boxing to, win fights so far. Let's see how he faces against someone who's not in their prime anymore, who, let's see this fight. That's basically the point I'm trying to make here. All right, I got 2 more matchups for you guys. Next person on this matchup list, we got Doo Ho Choi. Doo Ho Choi is probably one of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC right now. His last fight against Nate Landwehr, he beat the fuck out of Nate Landwehr. Knocked out Bill Algeo, I'm pretty sure. And then the fight, I'm pretty sure, was it the fight with Stevens or Swanson? I can't remember. Those are like 2 people always get mixed up their fights. But one of those fights was the fight of the year. I'm trying to close my eyes and remember it. It was the Swanson fight. That was the fight of the year. I just had to reimagine in my mind the fight. But who do I think Doo Ho Choi should fight? I think William Gomis is the fight to make. William Gomis, who has been super lackluster in his last couple of fights. The Ruchala fight was so boring. He lost to Haider Emil. Boring ass fight. Now he could have won the fight. I think this was a split decision, right? No. The Burrito fight, he won it, but he should have lost it. I don't even know. This dude he's got a pretty good record in the UFC, but he hasn't really done anything super entertaining yet. The only reason he's still signed is because he's French. Okay? And so the point I'm trying to make here is we should get an entertaining William Gomis fight. And how do we get an entertaining William Gomis fight? We put him against Doo Ho Choi, who comes to fucking scrap it out every single time. And so, yeah, I think you should do William Gomis versus Doo Ho Choi. I think it makes a lot of sense, entertainment value-wise. And, yeah, I don't feel like either guy deserves a shot into the rankings yet, so I feel like they should fight each other. And let's talk about the final fight. We got Nathaniel Wood here. Nathaniel Wood. Who do I think Nathaniel Wood should fight? Michael Jackson. Malik Wazel-Costa, who is on a pretty good run of his own right now. 5-6 in his last 6. Only loss is to Steve Garcia. Just beat Julian Erosa, beat C-Rod, beat Andre Fili, beat some other guy whose name I can't even fucking pronounce. I'm going to try to pronounce it. It's like Shyalan Nerderbakiyai or whatever. I can't even say his name, but Nathaniel Wood's coming off of a win over XXX Tentacion, Morgan Charrier. Beat Daniel Pineda. That's a pretty impressive fight. Got robbed against Muhammad Naimov, who was cheating the entire fight. And then he beat Andre Fili, beat Charles Jourdain, beat Charles Rosa. And so he's been on a pretty good tear since 2022. I think both guys are like 2 fights away from the rankings. And for that reason, I think they should fight each other and see who gets to get the fight to go into the rankings. So like the winner of this could fight Dan Ige or fight Giga or fight Kattar. So that's who I think they should fight. And that will do it for the video. That is me matchmaking the entire featherweight division. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one. And I really hope y'all fuck with my new profile picture, bro. We gotta do profile picture of this hoe. And we go see how it goes. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.